Welcome back, folks, to Ferox Frank Reviews. Now, we're still in the middle of October, so that would mean that we still gotta do horror films. And to be fair, the majority of films I do review is mostly horror based. But since it's still the season, I figured why not do a vampire one? Another vampire film. But not just any vampire film, an anime vampire film. Today, we're going to look at the 1985 classic, Vampire Hunter D. Oh, this is quite an interesting backstory here in the back here on the box. It says in the year 12,090 AD, Earth has fallen into the clutches of ruthless vampires. Humans are slaves by a corrupted feudal system, prey to the whims of the vampire aristocrats. Uh, Only one being has dared to challenge the cruel authority of these arrogant immortals, the mysterious vampire hunter called D. Huh. Hmm. Yep, that's actually the synopsis of the entire film. Right? And yes, this movie has actually been considered a cult classic. It even says it right here in the fine print in the back. Now, before I get started, I am aware there is actually another version of this movie out there, but to be fair, I actually have two copies of the film. Yeah, this one contains the original 1984 film, while this one contains the exact same movie plus the sequel, Bloodlust, which came out in 2000. Oh, yeah. And one thing I found that's really strange when they released this movie on DVD back in the early 2000s. Look at the concept art. Just take a look at the art they have here. Okay, yeah, look at the art here, and look at the one that's here. It's the same art style. Now, why is that? Well, if you look at the back of the box here, the art style is completely different. I mean, here D looks like he's completely pale, but in here he has a fine, which is up here by the way, he has a nice skin tone. Yeah. Well, on the back here, it shows like more of this animation. So clearly, this was more inspired by the Bloodlust cover. Yeah. So I kind of figured that much. And there is actually a third release of the movie that was when the movie came out on Blu-ray. They actually redubbed the entire movie eventually, which I found on YouTube. All right, so if you actually watch this movie on YouTube, you're basically watching the redub edition. All right, this here is the original English dub version. Now, let's get started. The movie takes place in the far future of, well, 12,000 AD, give or take, where, of course, we have a young farm family with a young girl and her little brother. And, well, the young girl's name is Doris. Oh, that's cute. And, well, here's what she looks like right here. Ain't she a cutie? And, well, she actually does fight off a couple of demon like creatures in her by her home. But the thing is, one of the demons looks like a freaking like a dinosaur, and another one's a werewolf. And apparently, and she was wearing a crucifix only to have the werewolf tear it off. After she kills the intruders, she's met by our main villain, Count Magnus Lee, the main vampire. And I should also mention that if you have the subtitles on this film, it's the original Japanese subtitles. So yeah, it's in clear English, but it's what they're saying in the Japanese dub version. So yeah, if it looks like that Lee didn't say anything during the scene, he didn't really say anything at all, and the redub actually fixed the whole thing up. So yeah, so Magnus Lee has claimed Doris to be his new bride. hmm The very next, sometime later on, we see we see a lone rider into the territory. Uh, and Doris, well, challenges him. Uh, and she thinks the guy is no more than just than a lowly hunter. Yeah, D is basically a bounty hunter at this point. So yeah, and in case you didn't notice, it's D. So yeah, so she challenges him by using her whips and everything. This movie takes place in the future, and it looks like the time period is actually, well, colonial time period, which is a little weird. It's like it's the 1700s mixed in with the 1800s and a little bit of the Victorian era, slightly, but all the technology is all futuristic. All right, so it's really weird. It's like if the 18 and 1700s got merged together with, say, oh, I don't know, with Blade Runner's future or elements of Star Trek. It's completely insane. While the sequel takes everything to a whole new level and it adds more of an apocalyptic punk feel. Yeah, go figure on that one. So Doris challenges D, and it turns out D, not even doing anything, using his magic, he actually is well keen with magic abilities. He easily defeats her, not even getting off his sword, not even getting off his horse amongst all things, which happens to be a cyborg. So she realizes that D is actually a vampire, and she actually enlists his help and offers to pay him, and even he can sleep with her if he wants. D is more intrigued about the vampire that actually bit her, and he's very professional. Yeah, if you want to talk about hardcore profession, this guy is legit one of those type of characters. So eventually she meets up with her brother and they go straight into town and to pick up some supplies, only to have the mayor's son actually harass her a bit more. And I would say this is the type of character that Joe should put on the A list, but to be fair, as this film progresses on, you see how Magnus Lee acts. It's like, yeah, Joe, if you want to put anybody on the asshole list, there's plenty of characters on this one, but my suggestion, put Magnus Lee on there, okay? Trust me, he's worthy of your asshole list. Trust me. Anyway, the mayor's son fully reject. Anyway, Doris rejects the mayor's son, and he basically blabs to everybody she was infected by Magnus Lee, and the town actually says they should quarantine her in this old fort, which of course it's unlivable because it turns out Magnus Lee 50 years ago did the exact same thing to another girl. Only when they imprisoned the girl, Magnus Lee went into a complete rage and killed like maybe over 50 people or something. I think the count was somewhere between 30 or 50 people because he flew into a rage. It's like, yeah, so their town solution was the worst idea. However, D actually suggests that the only way to cure Doris is to kill Magnus Lee, and he'll happily do it. And keep this in mind, D says this whole thing so stoic and so calm that it's clear to say this is somebody who's done it before and he has killed much more powerful vampires before. When you have somebody in that type of attitude talk back, even talk down to some people saying that what they're suggesting is just stupid, yeah. And he just says it in stoic attitude and doesn't break character. It's like, yeah, this is a hardened professional, somebody you do not want to fuck with, like ever. So afterwards, they go back. So they go back to their home, and of course, Dee finds out that Doris's father used to be a werewolf hunter. Okay, and he actually finds out that tonight is actually a blood moon night, which is most likely the safest night for for vampire victims because vampires don't come out around this point in time. Oh, that's nice to know. Uh, Which is well, actually, it's the following night. But it turns out that he suggests that that Lee may come over tonight, and so he removes his glove. He has a mutant hand. So okay, he's a vampire hunter and he has a mutant hand. But other than that, he's mostly professional. And I have no idea. And don't get me wrong. Don't judge me on this. I don't even know what the hell the left hand's name is. Okay, I just call him Lefty. Why? Well, honestly, he's a mutant and he lives in Dee's hand, and he's also assisting Dee from time to time because he's also a mutant slash demon type thing. And I gotta be honest, he's more defined in this version than he is in the original, so I'll give the critics that much. So with the power with Lefty's magic, he actually puts Doris under a spell and puts her to sleep, and he goes out to actually to beat the Count, only to be met by the Count's daughter, which I'm going to call Countess. I kind of forgot her name, so I just call her Countess for short. And also her bodyguard slash mutant character called Ray. now to be fair, he has a full name, but his first name is Ray, so I'm just gonna call him Ray. Uh, so Ray actually has a unique little weapon that tosses it at D from time to time, but D he just like deflects it here and there, even using a sword to actually throw it back at him. Uh, they pretty much underestimate D at first, saying that he's actually a higher ranked vampire killer. But at some point, D takes his big sword and stabs Ray, only to have the blade not come out of Ray's back, but come out of D's back. Yeah, so apparently Ray is a powerful mutant that can actually that can shift the whole spectrum around him, which is a little weird. Now D's weakened. Ray goes in for the kill, only to have D come right up and toss him around. It's like, what? How are you still alive, you bastard? How are you not alive? D just stands up and you see his wound heal like that. So the Countess realized, I see. He's not human at all. He's a Dampire. A what? A Dampire, Ray, means his mother, which means his mother was human, but his father was a powerful vampire. Really? So D's a half breed. That's right. D is a half breed vampire, much like Blade. Oh, wait a minute. Well, hold on a second. You know what? Forget what I said about that. Okay. Blade's origin story is a little complicated. Okay. So D's is actually the product of a love between a vampire and a woman, and just a regular woman. All right, and this goes out either both men and women too. If the vampire is female and the father is human, yeah, that makes more sense. But to be fair, it means that D actually has has all their abilities and none of their weaknesses, much like how Blade is. And I should say that maybe Blade may have copied a little bit from this though, because Blade wasn't really that popular back in the day. Because I think Blade came out about maybe the 70s or something, and this movie came out around the 80s. And so it's a possibility they may have taken some elements from that and actually incorporated the Blade's character. Because we don't see Blade until the Spider-Man animated series later on, and it's revealed he's actually he's a day-walking vampire. So, but with Blade, okay, his mother was pregnant with him at the time while she was attacked by a vampire. She went into labor and she gave birth to him. And as a side effect, the vampiric disease that actually was killing his mother infected Blade, turning him into a half breed unintentionally. So he was born as a pure blood daywalker by accident. While in D's case, he's a Dampeel. So okay, we have D who's a Dampeel. I should say they also somewhat pronounce it Van Peel with a V, but it's pronounced Dan Peel with a D, which is really weird. And we have Blade, who is a day walking vampire, a product by accident. You know, you just gotta love this logic nowadays. It's just so fucking confusing. Seriously, this is ridiculous. So D rightfully beats them, actually defeats them with relative ease. Magnus Lee is also very curious to know the fact that they have a vampire hunter who's also who's actually a Dampeel, who's a half breed, which he finds is very interesting. But he says it doesn't matter. He's no match for me. So, and I should also mention that the Countess, Lee's daughter, doesn't really want to have Doris as her mother because the fact that, well, she looks at Doris as a low class, as merely low class, as a low class girl and unworthy of the Lee name. And yeah, there's like a whole high class of society bullshit going on in this movie, though. And it's really kind of weird seeing it. It's coming from a vampire lineage, amongst all things. So, there's even at some point D eventually checks out the castle. Doris eventually does get kidnapped, and gets kidnapped by Magnus Lee. By Magnus Lee, so he wants to entice her to join immediately. To join, Lee is actually going through the entire dungeon section, fighting off all the demons and shit. And well, while it looks like that he's being defeated, he unleashes his vampiric abilities and goes apeshit and kills every fucking demon he gets in his way. It's like, oh, so he basically hulks out. Oh wait, no wait a minute, he's a vampire, so he vamps out. That sounds really weird that I said that. So eventually, D actually recaptures Doris, and actually heads out, runs away out of the castle, while Ray is chasing behind them. And he goes, he's good, but I am not going to rest until I kill him." So Ray refuses to return to the castle until he deals with D. One of Magnus Lee's servants actually goes to him and actually gives him a unique candle that weakens people who have who are vampires. So if the light touches him or the scent actually gets anywhere near him. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, however, the mayor's son was actually in the same hotel room because they did this dealing in the hotel room, and the mayor's son actually overheard everything. So that's a little suspicious. So, anyway, so Ray captures the young brother and actually forces D into a duel. And of course, well, D accepts the duel and goes after Ray and decides to fight off Ray. To fight Ray. And it doesn't really go that well for Ray at all. He actually has the candle lit and it just goes out. It's like, what the hell? And he loses his hand. Yeah, D just cuts his fucking hand off. And says, uh, had that been the real candle, you would have stood a chance. But that was just a regular candle. So somebody switched the candle on. So what? It was a fake candle? No, originally it was real, but somebody took the real candle. At this point, Doris actually is very depressed, gets very depressed and very worried. We get that stupid segment of the girl like, oh, no, no, no. All that total horse shit that we've always seen in every fucking anime ever. And I'm gonna be honest, it's a cliche that just needs to fucking die. I mean, seriously, I hate that. So anyway, the doctor comes by, who's actually Doris's family friend, comes by, and actually decides to scoop Doris up and get her someplace safe, but only to have the Countess intercept the both of them. Right? Yeah, the Countess intercepts them both, and and Doris decides to fight off the Countess, only to have the Doctor actually grab her laser, her future whip, and takes her cross away while showing us a booby. It's an anime, so you gotta expect some nudity every once in a while. So yeah, we get a little booby action. Nice. Yeah, that's what we need in a really tense situation. A booby. How's this supposed to calm us down? I mean, okay, we have a vampire callus right there, and you just whip out a booby. How's that supposed to work? Look, a little sexual cleavage. What do you think, dude? You're a fucking idiot. I swear to God. If this was maybe a sexual situation, that would make sense. But this is a intense situation. All right, that's not even that's more like a distraction than anything else. But look at the movie. It's nice. It's a cute little movie. I don't care. Doris, can you please come here? Thank you very much, Doris. You're a real sweetheart. Anyway, it turns out the fucking doctor was turned into a vampire by Magnus Lee. All right, so he was sent to go pick up Doris to actually bring him back to the castle. Oh, but he's also confused why the Countess is there too, until the Countess actually stabs him in the heart. So yeah, it turns out Doris. It turns out the Countess doesn't want Doris actually to marry her father. In fact, she actually tries to help Doris to get the hell away from the air. If she's far away from the region, then Magnus Lee will not even touch her. It's like, oh, okay, makes sense. But then the mayor's son comes by and he has the real candle. Yeah, and he uses it on the countess's daughter, on the count's daughter, the countess. And we see that he's going completely crazy at this point. Oh, I will use her as bait, and then I will use this on the count and actually kill him, and the town will be mine. Dude, you are you listening to yourself? I mean, are you listening to yourself right now? What you're saying is the most ridiculous and insane thing. Also, keep this in mind. Are you sure that candle's even going to work on the Count? I mean, the Count himself, Magnus Lee is close to 10,000 years old? It's a possibility he's actually grown immunity to certain things, and that candle may actually be one of them. All right, did you not think this through? I mean, he may actually eat garlic for breakfast and actually bathes in silver or some shit. He bathes in holy water too. I mean, did you not think this through? Doris, you will be mine. You will be mine. Be mine, Doris. The town will be mine. Guess what happens? Yeah, Doris's brother shoots him. Yeah, in the distance, D and the little brother are nearby, and the kid shoots the guy, killing him. And well, he actually doesn't really kill him. He actually throws him down the cliff. So honestly, D should have shot him. But hey, you know what? This is around the time when Kenny's was during the time in horror films and kaiju films where Kenny's were becoming a huge problem. But in this movie, I'm gonna say the kid isn't really a Kenny. He's actually sort of a supporting character. So yeah, so I'm actually kind of glad the kid actually did something good for once. So Dee and Doris and the little brother actually take Doris back to the farm, and Lee and while at the farm, Dee just lets her go because of the fact he's actually Dee is a very strict vampire hunter, and he's more like a nobleman when you think about it. He's a chivalrous nobleman style vampire hunter, and he's also a vampire himself. Well, a half breed anyway. We get like a ridiculous and of course, the Countess is actually speechless at this point, so she leaves and she prays to her vamp. Okay, in the Japanese version, it's called the vampire god, which is also their ancestor god. But the vampires all worship one vampire, and can you guess who it is? Yes, I'll give you a hint. It's the king of all vampires, Count Dracula himself. They even have a portrait in the in the main chamber of the house. So yeah, they worship Count Dracula, who is, I guess, in their opinion, Vampire Jesus. Actually, that makes a lot of sense when you think about it. So we get like a little stupid scene where where Dee actually gets tempted to drink Doris's blood, but he actually doesn't. And Doris actually says, "You can drink my blood. It's okay." And it's like just a back and forth romance thing. So moving on. So yeah, so the mayor's son is like limping his way out of the canyon, where he meets up with Ray, who bandages his arm. It's like, so you're the asshole who stole the candle. Oh wait! I gotta shut up. You're dead. Kills him off camera. Okay, look, I'm not gonna lie. I think this is actually one of the kills maybe everybody would have loved to see because the mayor's son was such an asshole. Now I know I said that Magnus Lee really deserves to be on the asshole list, but to be fair, close second goes to the mayor's son. Seriously, he is such a bastard. He is such a bastard asshole. So yeah, So Ray makes his way back to the farm and challenges D one more time to a duel. Only this time the candle works and it actually paralyzes D. But as the site for revenge, he cuts off D's left arm. He takes Doris back to the castle along with the brother as well. You know, maybe the brother could be like sacrificial or some shit. I don't know. But either way, the Countess is not actually pleased by it though, and Ray did this so he could actually be a nobleman for the House of Lee. And Lee just laughs it off. Like I said, he's an asshole. So anyway, Lefty wakes up and he's like, "Hey, D, come on, what the fuck are you doing? Shit, I need to get some. Damn that fucking candle in here. There we go. Shit. Hey, wake the fuck up. Damn it. Okay, I gotta eat some dirt. No. Okay, I got some strength back. Just myself right. There we go. Okay. Hey, wake the fuck up. Will you wake the fuck up? There's basically a couple of demons coming by about to eat D. So yeah, D eventually steps out of it and uses Lefty's power to absorb to absorb the demons and the blood. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? If there's an abridged version of this movie, I would love to hear what they would actually do for Lefty's voice. Seriously. So yeah, eventually Dean makes it back to the fucking castle, and Doris is now in a complete, well, vampiric daze at this point. Like, yeah, she's in fully hypnotized mode. Go fucking figure. So anyway, the brother actually sees them walking down the main hallway, which is a huge room, by the way. So the brother tries to attack him, only to have Magnus Lee just shoo him away with his power. And Doris just watches her brother fall to his death like this. She doesn't give a shit. She's literally hypnotized. And who comes to the rescue? Ray. Yeah, Ray actually saves him at the last minute. So, all right. I think it's because of the fact that Magnus Lee's been treating his whole family and all of his subjects like shit lately, that he wants to get revenge. earlier, the Countess, his daughter, the Countess, actually tries to stop him, only to actually shoo her away with his power. And to add insult to injury, he tells her the truth about her mother. That 50 years ago, the girl that Magnus Lee actually took from that village originally was actually her mother. So she is actually not of noble birth. Her father is of nobility, and her mother was just a commoner, just like Doris. So yeah, Lee's been doing this shit for like centuries. It's gotta stop. Anyway, back to the main issue. Ray uses actually uses the candle on the count. It works a little bit, but it turns out the count was just fucking with them. He blows out the candle because of the fact he's actually grown so powerful to the point that the candle doesn't do shit. He uses his vampiric force abilities and actually throws Ray around like a pinball. Yeah. You ever see? Okay, you remember back in Freddy versus Jason, where Freddy was tossing Jason around the dream world like a pinball machine, like a pinball, like bing, 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 bing. That's what happens to Ray's body. Bang, 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 bang. But he's hitting a bunch of pillars. He hits the main wall, and then his skull caves in under the sheer pressure of the power of the vampire. So eventually, they get to the main wedding ceremony, only to have Dee interrupt him. How? He throws a dagger into Lee's eye. It's like, what's that? Ah, it is you. Goes right back. Disgusting, but then again, it's a pretty decent animation effect, so I'll give it that much. And it shows you how powerful of a vampire he is. So basically, Dee scolds Lee for being such a bastard, and he fights Lee off, only to have Lee give the upper hand and toss him around a little bit, only to have Dee's main vampiric powers kick in immediately, and it turns out he's way more powerful than Lee ever was. Yeah, by the sheer power of the force of his power, he throws Lee around like a rag doll, and he throws his sword right at. He takes his broken sword and throws it right into Lee's heart, to like just impaling him. Like, how the hell did you do that? I'm 10,000 years old. Oh, he even tries to use like Doris to actually try to kill Dee when he was on his knees, only to have the brother and the Countess come in and snap her out of it though. Huh. Lee is just baffled. Like, how could this vampire hunter actually have killed him? In fact, he's a half breed. How? He's even trying to remember. He's trying to think, how powerful is this guy? He's more powerful than Lee. And Lee's 10,000 years old. What, is Dee more powerful than him? How's this even possible? That is. Lee finally gets the hint when he looks at the portrait of Dracula, and he notices that the that Dracula's portrait and Dee look almost identical to each other. And that's when it hits him. He asks Dee, he's like, is it possible? No, it's not. Is it possible your father is our ancestor Dracula? Yeah, it's true. Dee's father is Dracula. Hmm. Hey, makes as much sense when you think about it. Hmm. Yeah, with the power of Dracula, he was able to defeat even more powerful vampires. Supposedly Dee is actually very old too, because of the fact that he's a vampire, he doesn't age at all. He doesn't really age at all. So yeah, that's another thing too. So Dee is possibly older than most of these ancient vampires, so he can actually easily take them now. So maybe not easily take them now, but he doesn't use his full vampiric abilities because he doesn't want to go full vampire. Hey, makes as much sense when you think about it. So the Countess is actually shocked to see that Dee is actually Dracula's son. So it turns out Dee is actually the most noblest character in the entire house at the moment. So Dee tells everybody they have to leave right now, but the Countess refuses to leave and stays and dies, while Dee, Doris, and the brother leave and watch the castle crumble from within. Yep. So Dee saves the day. Dee saves Doris and the brother. And now Doris and her brother can live their happy lives as farmers without to worry about the vampire overlord. Dee rides off. Dee rides off, and the movie ends. And that, my friends, was Vampire Hunter D. Now, here's a question: do I actually recommend this movie? Yeah, I kind of do. Like I said, it's a classic anime. It's a basic classic anime film, and the whole thing with like the Dan Peel thing, which actually makes more sense when you think about the Blade's origin. Yeah, that's a huge mess in its own. And yes, I know I've actually criticized Blade a couple of times in this video as it is, but to be fair, I did actually originally want to do the Blade film series, but given the circumstances, it doesn't seem like it's going to be anytime soon. I may do them. I don't know. I may do them sometime next year or something, or even during the spring. I don't fucking know. But either way, I do highly recommend Vampire Hunter D, the original film. But if you're also into more stuff, watch the sequel too. They're both good in their own ways, of course. The animation style for the times are both good. The original animation is somewhat decent, but here's the fun fact: the third redubbing, the animation is actually, well, they fixed the animation up. In this one, the animation is extremely dark, but if you watch it on YouTube, they brighten up the animation while redubbing the entire thing. Right? The animation that's done in Bloodlust is made by the same people who did the Rain anime series. You know, the one with Alexander the Great is actually in the future. Yeah, that anime series. I know that series actually had a mixed, it was mostly like a mixed bag, but most people actually thought it was a really decent anime. But here in Vampire Hunter D's world, they should have made an anime series about that. Anyway, that's all I gotta say about Vampire Hunter D. So, what am I gonna do next time? Next time, it's vengeance. Yes, Pumpkinhead, the fourth and final film in the franchise. So tune in next time. It's Pumpkinhead Blood Feud. Till then, take care.